Welcome to the Art of Dress. I am so happy today to start working on color and share with you the elements of color. So thank you for coming and thank you for subscribing. To start our discussion of color today, I'm going to take you to a color wheel. It is a special color wheel that you have not seen before. And what it shows you is how the color wheel divides itself into the coloring of every human. And the first thing that you see about this color wheel is that the quadrants are quite different. In the very first quadrant, bottom right, you can see that the colors are clear and the colors are intense and the colors are warm. Ruby, red, and yellow. So I'm talking about the inner colors here. Ruby, red, and yellow. Clear, intense, and warm. These are the colors of fire. The people, every person, I say, is included on this wheel, which means that each person connects to the color wheel, the universal color wheel of humanity, through their prime color. It's only one color that they wear, but it is the color that connects them to all other humans through the universal color wheel. So fire colors is the first quadrant on the bottom right. The second quadrant, bottom left. Now the colors are warm, still warm, but light and muted. And the muting takes them out of the pure pastels into lightness that is also a little smoky, muted. And these are the colors of air. So in the same way that fire colors, I don't even need to tell you fire, right? Connects you. But air, you have to think about air. I'm going to show you some pictures to help you connect. How does this represent air? The third color, the third coloring group, once again, is clear and cool and light. And now we're talking watercolors. And you can see, and not only water, but the water reflects up into the sky. So water and sky colors here. Clear and light and cool. So now the last quadrant on the upper right are the earth colors. And here we're talking about colors that are intense and they are also cool and they are also muted by their very nature. And interestingly, these colors are only on earth. They don't exist in the rainbow, for example. These colors are earth colors. So I say again, every human being has a prime color. And the prime color is in one of the quadrants: fire, air, water, or earth. And all taken together, where each quadrant describes colors in a different way, this is the universal color wheel of humanity. And now I will show you examples, and we will start with fire. Fire colors: clear, intense, and warm. And the three colors in fire are ruby, red, and yellow. Let's look at ruby. Ruby red is the prime color of Joan Smalls. And you can see how stunning ruby is for her. So with ruby, we remember that the colors are clear and intense and also warm. And why clear in her case? Because ruby is the color that most gets close to being muted, but we pull it back. Clear, ruby, gorgeous. Our second is red. Here is Rihanna, as you already know from We did a little bit of hair. Rihanna is, oh no, makeup, I think. It was makeup or jewelry. Don't remember now, but Rihanna. And coloring is intense and warm and clear. And her prime color is red, but red can be also orange. Red, orange, orange, red, red. Our third example is yellow. And here we have Leila Ong. She is from Malaysia. That is Singapore. She's the west side of Malaysia. And you can see how glorious she is in her prime color, yellow. So yellow, warm, and also clear, and also intense. Those are the three colors of the fire element of color. And now let's move to the air element of color. Let me show you. Air is inspired by not just the earth, but a time of year. And the time of year is very specific because it's after the solstice, the summer solstice. The air is warm. The air is almost heavy. It's also hazy, like you look out into this very still air, and things lose their sharpness, their focus. The air is very warm and light and muted, and it's reflected in the vegetation. And now what we see are the olive greens, and we see the ochre green, the medium. The darker version of that is pine, but the light ochre greens. And the third kind of green is the green that's tending to blue, but it's still green. I call it celadon. It's often seen also in like little tiny ponds. You see this greeny blue. So all of the colors are based here on green. So our first example is olive green. And in olive green, we're talking warm, light, muted. And you can see a stunningly gorgeous olive green is the prime color for Gigi Hadid. And our second prime color is ochre green. And here, allow me to introduce to you Melody Monrose. She is from Martinique, and she is unbelievable in ochre green, that medium green. And our third example from the air element of colors is celadon. And here we have Josephine Screver. You already know her, and she was the Refined Natural from our style group. Celadon green, where the colors are muted and also warm and also light. So those are the warm elements of color, fire and air. And now we move to the cool elements of color. And the first one is water. In watercolors, we're talking about colors that are cool, they are clear, and they are light. Clear, light, and cool. And you notice that sky is included in this because the sky and the water are like two versions of each other. They're like reflections. So the very first coloring in the elements of color is aqua. Aqua water. And here we see Rosie Huntington Whiteley. Aqua water. The colors are clear, they are light, and they are cool. And this is her prime color, aqua water. So I just want to give a little aside here. When I started looking at color work had been done that was really important, very wonderful. But there was this idea that you could tell someone's color by just looking at them, okay? That's very, very difficult. And that also there was some kind of connection between color and origin, shall we say. Well, in the last style work that we did, there were 6 models of this coloring. And just to help you see how very impossible it is to connect coloring with origin, I'm going to tell you who the 6 aqua waters were. So if we start with Rosie, our first aqua water, she's from Great Britain. Our second one was Aeneas Mali, aqua water, from France, and her background is Chad and Poland. And our third aqua water was Yasmin Gori, and she was from Canada, living in Montreal, but Canadian background, and also German, I think. And our fourth aqua water was Elle Fanning. Okay, I don't know where she's from, but American. And our next aqua water was Arlenis Sosa from the Dominican. So, did I get them all? Let me check. Rosie, Anais, Yasmin, Elle Fanning, and Arlenis Sosa. Like, from everywhere. And a similar thing is actually true for sky water. This is sky water, Candace Swanepoel. And you can see light and cool and also clear. And Candace is only one of the 4 colorings that were on the last model group. So besides Candace, we also had Micah Janelli, who is part, I think she's from Australia, but I think she might be, if Janelli is in there, it sounds Italian, but also Filipino. And then also Chanel Iman, who is part Korean. And the last one, Jordan Dunn from Jamaica. So sky blue water, and you can see, stunningly beautiful. And then the last kind of watercoloring, here we have, let me introduce you to Laís Ribeiro. If you haven't met her before, she is from Brazil, and her coloring is violet water. And the violet water that we're referring to here is the color of her sleeve, and also the back of her blouse, and also her pant leg. Violet water, it's like periwinkle blue. So violet blue watercoloring. Laís Ribeiro, and her colors, cool and light and clear. Her element colors, based on violet water. So the last group, the last quadrant of the universal color wheel is the earth element of colors. Earth colors are really inspired, or shall we say, conform to the colors of the fruits of the earth. And these colors are intense, and they are cool, and they are also muted. And so the first color that is in this group is grape. And our first person is Shirahu Okunuki. And she is from Japan, and you have met her before, but I'll just reintroduce you. And so she is grape earth coloring. Grape earth is muted and also cool and also intense. Cool, intense, and muted. The second kind of coloring in this group is Lia Kabede, plum earth coloring. And so her colors are intense and also muted and also cool. And plum is her prime color. Plum earth coloring. And as you know, she is from, I think, Ethiopia. I seem to remember. And then our last kind of coloring is burgundy. Burgundy earth coloring. So her prime color is burgundy. This, you may remember, is Atika Karim, and she is also from Malaysia, like Layla Ong, except instead of being from the west side, she's from the east side of Malaysia. Burgundy earth coloring. obviously, look how stunning. So everyone that wears their prime color has this luminous glow. And the colorings are not every color fits into these, but each person connects to the color wheel according to their prime color. And that means that there's a connection to other people according to the prime colors. So again, you have 4 elements of color: fire, air, water, and earth. And this wheel, every human is represented by this wheel because every human has a prime color. And every prime color fits into one of these: a fire color, an air color, a water color, and an earth color. And you can describe coloring according to this. You can have red fire coloring. You can have ochre green, ochre air coloring. You can have aqua water coloring, sky water coloring, violet water coloring, burgundy earth coloring, plum earth coloring. Everyone's coloring is can be described through their prime color. So thank you for sharing with me today our introduction to the elements of color and the universal color wheel of humanity. And I look forward to, there is so much more to share with you about color. But next, I think we're going to start looking at the palettes of color that emerge out of the universal color wheel and the elements of color. Thank you for coming again. Thank you for subscribing. See you soon.